Tens of thousands of people are demonstrating in the Palestinian territories to demand the right to return to Israel and an end to Israel's blockade of the Gaza Strip. Organizers are calling today's events a Million Man March. It's also the one-year anniversary of the start of weekly protests in Gaza. 2 Palestinians have been killed in clashes with Israeli forces near the Gaza border. The Palestinian Red Crescent says more than 100 were injured, including bullet wounds and tear gas inhalation. There's also been violence in the city of Ramallah in the West Bank. Joining us now from Jerusalem is DW's Tanya Kramer. Tanya, Gaza Health Ministry officials say 2 Palestinians have been killed by Israeli fire today. What can you tell us?
Yes, that's right. One young man succumbed, actually, his injuries he sustained last night in protest on Friday night. He died early this morning. And another 17-year-old teenager was hit during the afternoon directly in the face. It's unclear whether it was by sniper fire or by a tear gas canister, and died from his injuries. Also, the Palestinian Red Crescent has said that over 100 people were injured, most of them, however, lightly. Which is what we've seen over the past year at demonstrations of this scale. It's rather a lower number than what we've seen. Now, there have been reports that there have been some kind of unofficial understandings brokered by an Egyptian delegation that has been shuttling between Gaza and Israel over the past week, between Hamas and Israel, to calm down the situation. The organizers of these protests have asked protesters to stay far away from the fence. The Israeli army has put out a statement that there had been some young protesters approaching the fence, throwing some stones and some devices, but most of the protesters have actually stayed further away from the fence.
Tanya, in 10 days, as you know better than I, there are general elections in Israel. Do you think the clashes will have any influence on the outcome of the vote?
Well, I think all eyes were actually on this day today after a week of heightened tensions that started with a rocket being launched and landing in central Israel on a home of a family with injuries there. And then there had been cross-border fire for overnight. And ever since, the Egyptian delegation had been trying to mediate between, indirectly, obviously, between Hamas and Israel. Prime Minister Netanyahu has been put in a tight spot on how to respond. He has vowed to have a tough response. Also, his opponents have called on a really tough response against Gaza. So all of this, of course, happening in the middle of an election campaign. So all eyes were on Gaza today, what is happening, how this day will unfold. And of course, whatever happens here on the ground will also affect the remaining election campaign, with elections happening on April 9th.
Okay, DW's Tanya Kramer in Jerusalem. Thank you for that.